Hey, welcome back to the podcast, the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. How are you doing today, folks? It is Friday, finally. The weekend is upon us. It's time for gaming. Well, at least for me tomorrow. We have our bi-weekly game that we play with my group. We're finishing up playing Starfinder. Not my favorite game, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the podcast this week and the Death Knight specials that I've done. Let's see here. The episode that Will guested, we did with the intelligent weapons, did absolutely fabulous download wise. I guess the RFI fans are finally tuning into the podcast and listening because Will was back and everybody really downloaded that one. I was impressed. I had to tell Will about that. He was happy. So anyway, ask the DM at theevildm.com. Theevildm.com is my website. You can sign up there. You can support me by going to buyacoffee.com/theevildm. All right, commercials are out of the way. Today, I reached into the email bag. By the way, thank you to those that keep emailing me suggestions, either on email address or through Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, or Facebook. This one is an email, and it says, Vince, can you talk about the Algoid in your next creature spotlight? Thanks so much. Love the podcast. Happy to hear you're keeping the AD&D fires lit and not doing clickbait stuff like the, and I'm quoting, in quotes, crazy wild-eyed guy who doesn't brush his hair and bad green screen effects. Laugh out loud, he's annoying. Oh, who the heck is that? I have no idea. But yeah, sure. Keep those AD&D fires lit. Thanks, Billy G. Well, Billy, the Algoid is in the Fiend Folio. At first, I didn't know exactly where it was because it's not a creature I've really ever used that often. But I love the Fiend Folio monsters. So, flipping to page 11 in the Fiend Folio, we see him here. His appearance is rare, and very rare. 1 to 6 can appear at once. Armor class of 5, movement 6-inch. Hit dice is 5. 20% chance in his lair. That's pretty high. So we'll go over that in a minute. Treasure is D. Number of attacks is 2, and it's 1d10, 1d10 with his giant fists. No real special attacks. He's immune to edge weapons of less than +2 bonus. Magical. He's immune to fireballs and lightning and otherwise standard magical resistance, but he is immune to those two things, which is interesting because an Algoid basically means of algae or the nature of resembling algae. So interesting. I would think a fireball or lightning would probably hurt it, but no. It's semi-intelligent, so it probably could communicate somewhat, or at least understand basic communication. Chaotic neutral, it's pretty medium in size. It has a psionic ability of 101 to 120, and we'll talk about it in a minute because it says see below. Attack defense mode A. That all falls under psionic ability. XP level value, it is V 280 plus 5 per hit point. So depending on the hit points, how much experience you can give them. This creature appears as a green humanoid with coarse, rough features. Its appearance is misleading. However, it is, in fact, a colony of algae which, assembled in this form, has developed some mobility and a rudimentary intelligence. Its form is only temporary of nature. Okay, so it's only a temporary thing that happens. So, and I would think, and we could probably get into why it would form in a minute. It is immune to psionic attacks, but can deliver 1 mind blast per day. It attacks with its powerful fists, which can inflict 1d10 points of damage. So it gets 2 attacks and 2 smash fists. Roar. Edge weapons will pass through the Algoid without doing any damage, unless it is a magical bonus of 2 or better, +2 or better, in which case they inflict half normal damage. Blunt weapons, magical or otherwise, will do full damage. All right, so you have a sword, and it doesn't do anything. You have a magical sword of +2. You hit it, and you only do half damage, so that kind of stinks. The Algoid has control over certain types of trees, similar to those exerted over trees by the treant, but not exactly the same as the treant, though. It tells you to see the monster manual of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, the first one about tree, and if you want to learn more about the tree control. So the types of trees the algoid can control are those which we found near like its normal habitat, like a swamp or lakeside pasture, at all events close to water of some kind, whether stagnant or otherwise, is the only type of trees that it can really control. Thus, it will be able to control two willows, water oaks, cypresses, and other similar varieties of trees. It's getting a little technical on tree types there because I don't think I've ever actually been like, well, this is this tree. So I would say if it's near a water source, he's going to control it. Trees, thus controlled, move at a 3-inch rate and strike with 2 attacks per round, doing 1d10 points of damage. So he can basically be like, lift his hand up, control the trees around, and now there is some minions to basically be attacked. Despite their immunity to certain forms of magical attack, fireball and lightning, algoids are particularly vulnerable to part water and lower water spells, each of which can inflict 1d6 points of damage per experience of the spellcaster. So this creature would probably only be in stagnant waters, maybe ponds, like the swampy areas be perfect for this. And this is this like swamp thing here. Actually, thinking about it now, he can be guarding. I was thinking about this. What can he do? Well, I would say the Algoid would be guarding a sacred grove or some type of temple that's hidden underneath this water substance that the players have to get to because it's part of whatever quest they're on. So you could see that the creature would probably be not visible at first. You slowly walk upon the pond, and as you're looking around, nothing happens. And then slowly, as you get into the water, this green creature starts forming. These little pieces of algae start forming into a humanoid like figure right before your eyes. As it grows in appearance, you can see it actually has a face. It has arms, hands, legs, and it is stomping towards you with anger. And suddenly, as you're reacting, defending yourself, you feel a shock to your mind. Mind blast. So that's something you can do as an example of that creature. But yeah, I would definitely have him guarding something or a grove that he's protecting. He's definitely like a Swamp Thing or a Toxic Avenger type thing. I would think Swamp Thing would be a perfect example of who he is because he reminds me exactly of it. But it's a pretty cool creature, actually. I really like it. It's not something I don't think I've ever really used him. Maybe an off chance using him. I don't know. But he's only in his lair 20% of the time, so not necessarily is that pond his lair. It could be just something that he guards, like he goes to every day. And then his algae kind of, spreads into the water. I like that image of you walking up to it, you getting into the pond with your ring of water breathing, or the lake, whatever it is, swamp area. You're stomping through, and all of a sudden, like you see, like the water start to tremble, and like the you see like algae forming together, and you see legs and a torso and a body, arms, and you start to see a face with a grimace look on, and he screams as he charges towards you, like "Rah!" That would be a really cool image to be doing when you're playing a game. Probably the characters would probably crap their pants thinking, what the hell is this? I like it. I like it a lot. It's funny that the picture that they have drawn of it, and I'm really not sure who drew it. I can see the signature, but it's so small. Oh, Rob, and I think that's it. I don't know. Uh, it doesn't resemble what you would think an algae monster creature looks like. It looks like it kind of looks like a troll, to be honest, with the hair and the way the body structure is. It doesn't look like it would be algae. I would honestly make it look more. If I was, I can't draw, so I'm not critiquing the drawing itself. I'm just critiquing the vision of the drawing. I could do that because I would have asked for something that looked similar to Swamp Thing or some type of creature that looked like a creature from the Black Lagoon, at least. This looks more like a troll or some type of goon monster with his arms in the air. Yeah, it doesn't look like an algae monster to me. based on the description. That's just my opinion on that. You could tell me if you want to flip to page 11 and check out that creature. Tell me what you think in the notes or in the comments on YouTube or whatever. Email me, X, whatever. Tell me what you think. I'm going to head out. So keep it original, keep it old school. Thanks to Billy G today. Keep those AD&D fires lit. Good night, everybody.